Hello and welcome back. In today's video, we will talk about political environment. When it comes to assessing the general business environment, so we can make better business decisions, understanding the political climate of that particular environment is absolutely essential. When it comes to assessing the political climate and understanding the political aspects of a particular environment, the first thing we need to see is the type of rule in that particular environment. For example, if we are planning to invest in a foreign country, we are going to see whether that country has a democratic rule, or is that country ruled by a dictator, or is that country still following a monarchical type of government. So if it is a democracy like India or the United States, then there will be a fixed term for every prime minister and president. In the US, the term for every president is 4 years. At the end of the fourth year, every president has to vacate the office and they will be subject to a re-election. In India, it is 5 year. 5-year period, every prime minister, the term comes to an end. So what is the advantage of it? If it is a fixed tenure and the country's head is being represented by the people, then it means that the people of that particular country has a say in who gets to govern that country. But you cannot say that with respect to dictatorship or a monarchy. So that is with respect to the type of rule. Now let us talk about the political stability. Political stability is, if it is a democratic country, is that country's president or prime minister able to fulfill their entire tenure? Can they last till their full term? To give you an example, in India, since 2000 until 2025, over the last 25-year period, every prime minister has done their full term, which means election kept coming only in every 5 years. So there was no sudden change of government, no alliance shift, no protest, and then because of that, there is a new government. There was no such extraordinary occurrences in our country for the last 25 years. Whether this party is ruling or that party is ruling, every party did their full 5-year period. But we cannot say this in neighbor countries like Nepal, Pakistan and Bangladesh. Recently there was a government change in Bangladesh, and again in Pakistan also the government changes very frequently, and also it is essentially ruled by military. And particularly about Nepal, in the last 10 years there were 5 government changes, which means every 18 to 24 months there is a change in the prime minister's office. This could be because of many reasons. The alliance will shift, the party's support will change from one person to the other. So suddenly the other person will become powerful and oust this person from the prime minister's office. And this keeps on happening like a musical chair event every 18 to 24 months. So imagine every 18 to 24 months, a new person comes into the office as prime minister, and he or she will have a different financial policy, different legal policy. Because of that, the country's overall growth trajectory really gets affected. Law enforcement gets affected. So now the second aspect is to see whether the country is politically stable or not. Once you assure that the country is politically stable, then the next thing that you have to check is whether the country is ruled by a right-wing government or a country is ruled by left-wing government. The upcoming discussion is not going to judge that whether right-wing government is good or left-wing government is good. Both have their own advantages and disadvantages, but as a student of business, what you have to understand is to see the general theoretical characteristic of each and every type of government. Now, if you see the right-wing governments, generally they will prefer lower taxes. They will say that we want to reduce the burden of tax on the people, so that let people pay less and less tax. So they will have more and more personal money, which they will again spend it back on the economy, and money will somehow come back to the market. That's their ideology. They will prefer lower taxes. That means even individuals will be taxed less, even the businesses will be taxed less. That's the first point. And then they also will focus on increased ease of doing business. So they will have relatively less regulations compared to the left-wing governments, where you don't need so many permits, you don't need so many forms to be filled. So let's say you want to set up a factory in a right-wing country, the process will be done much faster because the government is more focused on encouraging businesses. The last point is minimal government intervention. Again, government does not come into the economical aspects of the country that much. It will not come into the business administration aspects. The government sticks to its business on just general governance. We also saw in our economic environment topic the capitalist and socialist type of economies. The right-wing government generally follow capitalist form of economy. So that's the first part. Now let's see what this left-wing governments generally do. The left-wing governments think that they like to involve in the active business aspects of the country. They would like to control the business functions in the country also, which means there will be a lot of noticeable government intervention with respect to the business environment. So naturally they collect more taxes. When left-wing government collects more taxes, people are kind of burdened, but the government gets a lot of money as tax, and then the left-wing government thinks that, or at least believes that, whatever the money that we collected from public, yes, we collect slightly more money than the normal countries. Some countries you will see 40% income tax, 50% income tax. So those countries, the government gets a lot of money from the public, which it puts back into public, gives back to public in the form of social welfare schemes. A lot of countries you might have seen free education, free healthcare, a lot of social security. These are the examples, which means government gets a lot of money from the people, but at the end of the day, it tries to give it back to the people in the form of public welfare. I have seen even countries there are transport is also pretty much almost free. So these are the two different types of governments. Now you as a student of business should understand which type of political ideology is good for your business. Should you choose a right-wing economy or you should choose a left-wing government? You have to decide that. That's it with respect to the political environment. Let's talk about legal environment in tomorrow's lecture. Thank you and bye-bye.